Hey guys, welcome along to Sceammeupbotty. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting into the original series of Star Trek in this episode with A Taste of Armageddon. This is a fantastic episode. Pure gold in my book. It is just tasty from beginning to end. Enterprise is en route to Star Cluster. The open diplomatic relationships with civilization there. After several unacknowledged attempts to make contact, a message comes from the planet, the principal planet in the cluster. Code 710, stay away at all costs. Ambassador Fox overrides Kirk's wish to honour the request and forcibly orders him to take the Enterprise to the planet anyway. Kirk orders that the Enterprise go to yellow alert, and he goes on intercom and gives the crew the message that we're going in peacefully, I hope, but peacefully or not, we're going in. So Kirk orders are clear, establish diplomatic relationships at all costs. So him, Spock, Human Tamura, and two security officers, Galloway and Osborne, beam down. This other guy, the Ambassador Fox, isn't happy with this decision by Kirk. He wants to go down as well, but Kirk tells him, my responsibility is not just for the safety of my ship and crew, but you as well. So I want to go down first, check out what's going on, make sure everything's okay before anybody else beams down. When they get there, Kirk, he learns that he's in danger. This woman, Mia, takes him to the High Council, whose leader, Anon 7, rejects Kirk's diplomatic, issues here, what he's here to do, because of the war that they're in the midst of. Anon 7 reveals that Eminar has been fighting a war with the third planet of the system, Vendikar, for almost 500 years. But despite a hit raid in the city, Kirk and his landing party, they can find no evidence of war. They're doing their scans and whatnot. On the computer screens in the command centre, you're seeing parts of the map lighting up where an explosion has happened, but they're not hearing any destruction within the city. They do scans, nothing's coming up in the tricorders. They even call up in the Enterprise and say, are you seeing anything up there? And they're like, no explosions, no radiation, nothing which suggests damage has happened within the city. Spock finally deducts that the war is fought through computers only. Casualties are calculated, and the victims have 24 hours to report to a disintegration station. So Anon 7 gives the news of the disintegration stations. Crazy, this whole setup within the episode. You see people stepping into this room, small little room thing, and the door closes, and the guy presses a button outside. They're incinerated, essentially, and the door opens again, and nothing's there. But you don't see any real, Star Trek being what it is. Back in the 60s, it was just the high effects of, we'll close the door, and then this guy runs out through an orb door in the back, closes that, and then we'll open it again, like, oh, he's not there anymore, he got disintegrated. But they simply just walk in and never come back out. Anon 7 assures Kirk that his people have a high sense of duty. He then tells Kirk that, unfortunately, the reason why I didn't want you to come here in the first place, and unfortunately it has now happened. The Enterprise, when it entered orbit, became a legitimate target and has been destroyed by a tricobalt satellite explosion, just like the victims on the surface. Kirk's crew now has 24 hours to report for disintegration. Kirk and his party are imprisoned to ensure compliance. Mia herself, she's also declared a casualty. She's defending the system. She insists that she values her own life, but tells Kirk that if people don't report for disintegration, then Vendikar would be forced to launch real weapons, and Eminar would be forced to retaliate, and both civilizations and the population would die, in worse ways. So, yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy idea. The Anon 7, then he tries to use some trickery to get the Enterprise crew down using a voice duplicator to approximate Kirk's voice. And he calls up to the Enterprise, which is now under the command of Montgomery Scott. Scott's suspicious, analyzes the message because the message basically says, everything's okay. I'm giving orders now that all people on the Enterprise beam down for shore leave, which is not something that would happen. The Enterprise needs people on the ship to keep it running, so if there's going to be any shore leave, it's going to be staggered shore leave. A certain percentage of the crew would go down, whoever's left will be running the ship and whatnot, and then they'll switch places. And when Scotty hears that everybody can come down at once, his alarm bells go off. So he analyses the message at Spock's science station, discovers that it's a fake, and of course the people aren't going to be beamed down because of this. Meanwhile, in the surface, Spock, he uses a form of telepathy through the wall. He does the Vulcan mind meld. There's a guard outside the door, and he actually tries this through the wall, and it works, and he gets the guy to open the doorway. So moving about the division to control the party encounters, interrogation station 12, they all skip, of course. This guard comes in, gets knocked out. I was going to swear there. I'm trying not to swear in my podcast. So they get out, find this disintegration station, and they destroy it. In response to that, Anon 7 institutes a full search and orders the planetary defense batteries to open fire on the Enterprise. Scotty's cautious approach to the situation is fortunate. The batteries open fire on the Enterprise, but the shields are, they're able to handle the sneak attack. So Scotty, on point in this episode, without the shields they would have been destroyed. So looking for options to respond to this unprovoked attack, Scott decides to respond with a barrage of photon torpedoes, but Ambassador Fox halts any attempt at retaliation. Ignoring protests by Scotty or McCoy, Fox takes command of the situation and opens up communications with the planet. Back down on the surface, Kirk realises the only way he can save the ship and his crew is to put a stop to the fighting altogether. So he gets hold of Mia, saves her from the going into the disintegration disintegration chamber. Gets hold of her. They manage to get some weapons needed for whatever they're going to do. They also get 2 security uniforms, commandeered by both Osborne and Galloway, the 2 guys in the red shirts that don't actually die in this episode. It's class. Back in the Enterprise, Ambassador Fox, still unaware of Anon 7's treachery and the danger to the lives of the Enterprise crew, attempts to salvage the situation. He contacts the planet, offering to have the ship lower its shields and to beam down personally to discuss the matter. Anon 7 agrees. However, this is a trick to enable the Armenians to destroy the ship and meet the terms of their treaty with Vendikar. Unfortunately, Scotty, with McCoy's support, blatantly refuses Fox's order to have the ship stand down. He notes that the land party has obviously still been held prisoner, and the ship was just fired on without provocation. The Fox, he's not happy at this at all. He threatens to have Scotty court-martialed for insubordination, and leaves and proceeds to the planet with his aide along. Now, that's the only hole in the storyline for me here. I can't recall. I want to say he could not beam down from the Enterprise while she still has her shields up. Might be wrong there. Forgive me for somebody else having a science fiction podcast and talking a lot about Star Trek. I still have a few holes in my knowledge of the ins and outs of the technology, but something inside me says when he beamed down, the ship had to have her shields down for him to do that. Could be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments of the podcast here, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, get into those comments there as well. He goes to the planet anyway, takes his sidekick with him, and although Scotty, he's in the hot seat at this stage, he stands firm until he knows what happened to the captain. Nobody's leaving the ship, blah blah blah, but that's ambassadors and that's it, and what he wants to do, he's going to do. Non retreats to his office to prepare and has a drink of trough. Kirk's hiding on there. This is after Fox goes down and he's taken prisoner essentially, and he's like, he's informed, you've been designated as a victim of the war, so we're going to have to go and disintegrate your ass along with this other fella. So they're taken away to a disintegration chamber, but they're saved before they get in there. Kirk's hiding in On 7's office, confronts him, demanding to speak with his ship. And On 7, he's more interested in saving his world, and he's refusing to give any leeway to Kirk whatsoever. But finally, he tells Kirk where the communicators can be found in the war room. Kirk, correctly suspecting trickery, pushes an On 7 into the corridor ahead of him, but it's no good. The guards overpower him after a brief little fight in the corridor. Now, there's one punch Kirk takes in this fight, and it looks so real. I kind of think he was punched in the face in this episode. And from what I've heard of the working relationship between Shatner and some of the crew and members on there, he wasn't the easiest guy to work with. So if somebody took a little dig at his back, wouldn't be surprised to hear about it. So Fox, he's been escorted to the chamber, but not... hold on, I've lost my place in my notes once again. The ambassador, Fox, heading off for his execution, is rescued by Spock and the rest of the Enterprise crew that are on the surface. Galloway and Osborne posing as guards. They destroy this disintegration chamber as well. After the rescue, Fox humbly admits that he has been dangerously mistaken about the situation, and although he has no experience of being a soldier, he offers his help in the fight. Spock replies that they will need all the help they can get. Kirk, he's been held in the council chamber at this stage. He learns that Eminar has fallen behind its quotas, and Vendikar accuses it of violating the treaty, escalating the tension between them. Anon pleads with Kirk if his crew doesn't report for disintegration, the civilizations of Eminar, I'm just going to say Eminar, I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right, and Vendikar will be destroyed in a very real war that will erupt. But Kirk, not giving him an inch, just been, he's got a plan that he's just about to land on an On 7. And on 7 opens a channel to the ship. Kirk takes advantage of the opportunity to order Scotty to implement General Order 24 in 2 hours. Kirk's then restrained, and On threatens the hostages' lives if the crew does not report immediately. Kirk informs him that his threats are not, these threats are empty at this point, since in 2 hours the Enterprise will destroy the entire planet. And On 7 immediately orders the defences to fire on the Enterprise, but the Enterprise has moved out of range. Scotty, again, on point in this episode. Doing everything by the book, keeping the Enterprise and her crew safe, and getting himself in a bit of hot water with the brass as far as Fox is concerned. Out in the corridor outside the control room, Spock, Ambassador Fox, and the 2 lieutenants, and his sidekick, the Ambassador's sidekick, all come under fire by security, while Spock, Osborne and Galloway manage to take out 2 of the guards. Fox's 8 is hit and wounded in the fight, and unable to press on. And On 7, he's at his wit's end at this point. He faces certain shit's going to hit the fan for him if the planet's treaties and responsibilities aren't adhered to. At this point, he's starting to plead with Kirk to de-escalate the situation, but Kirk is counting on escalation, essentially. He's got no intention to stop it. The situation goes from bad to worse for an On 7 as Scotty informs the Council that all cities and installations on the planet have been fed into the Enterprise's fire control system, and it will destroy the entire planet if they don't release their captives. And realising that Kirk does indeed intend to carry out General Order 24, and On 7 collapses on a table as he's trapped between the Enterprise and the Vendicar. Chance favours Kirk, who manages to overpower all of the armed guards in the room at this point. Spock and his party arrives moments later, and a nice little piece of comedy there whenever Spock bursts in to rescue Kirk, and at this point Kirk's got everybody at the end of her phaser, and for what you needed to help. But Kirk says, I definitely do need help here, so he needs Spock to work out the computer system and how the war has been fought between the computers and everything. Kirk heals the Enterprise, informing them to stand by to transport the party in 10 minutes or carry out General Order 24 on schedule. Kirk then tells an On 7 his plan to save his crew, his plan to end the war, and the captain asks Ambassador Fox to hold the people outside while Spock, one other councilman, and Lieutenant Osborne remain. They retrieve their phasers and communicators, lock the master computer. Spock details that the computers are in constant contact with Vendicar counterparts, terminating that contact destroys the agreement between them, essentially, and by destroying the master computer, the others will go. Kirk orders Osborne to escort the councilman out, and they destroy the master control system with their phasers. With them destroyed, Kirk paints a very frightening image for an On 7. Those in Vendicar will assume that the treaty has been broken on this end and will plan a real war. The next attacks by both sides will be very real. Kirk offers an alternative, however. They could change 500 years of theatrical... There's a big word I haven't said before. You could change 500 years of this computer war, this computer fighting, and make peace instead. And Kirk tells an On 7 that if they contact Vendicar, they will quickly realise that they are just as horrified at the prospect of a real war. And On 7 remembers that the communication link with Vendicar is still in existence, though it hasn't been used for centuries. There might be a chance to save both planets if they put it to use. At this point, Fox offers to serve as a mediator between the two planets, and Kirk leaves them behind to negotiate the peace process. So at the end of the episode, we're on the bridge of the Enterprise. Of course, Uhura reports that the peace talks are looking hopeful. Spock remarks on the big chance that Kirk took in destroying the computers, running the war between the two planets, risking a real war. Kirk disputes that, noting that a real attack would not have killed as many as the computer simulation, but it would have ended both planets' ability to make war permanently. Kirk, however, acknowledges that it was a calculated risk, but I had a feeling that an orderly society such as the Minions would not have risked war, since it was a very messy business, and they would have done anything to avoid that. So Spock tells Kirk that a feeling is not much to go on. Kirk replies that a feeling is sometimes all humans have to go on. And so Spock tells the captain that he almost makes him believe in luck. And of course, Kirk responds with, "Why, Mr. Spock, you almost make me believe in miracles." So we get that little sort of smart-ass end to the episode that we're very used to in the original series of Star Trek, where they finally work out their situation, and they kind of have a bit of friendly banter with Spock being the guy that's super intelligent, force to be reckoned with as far as the mind goes, but whenever it comes to humans in the way that they interact and whatnot, he has kind of a blind spot there, so they get a bit of fun with him and have a little bit of a joke. And usually the episodes would close out with them all having a little laugh to themselves as they go back to their business as normal. I absolutely adore this episode of Star Trek. It is there's a lot of stuff in today's world, the way things is going technology wise and computer wise, and especially with the AI and everything coming the way it is at the minute. And you see an old episode of Star Trek like this here that kind of gives you a possible, like, highly unlikely, but not too far out of the realms of possibility that something like this could actually happen at some point in the future, where everybody's just that used to computers and like smartphones and whatnot. Like, I can't recall the last time I walked more than 25 feet without having my phone with me. And if I didn't have my phone with me, I would have to turn and go back and lift the iPhone. We're more and more dependent on computers. So, you know, watching an episode like this again kind of says to me, you know, it's not too far out of the realms of possibility. Right. That is going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, let me know in the comments, or you can email the show if you want at sceammeupbotty@gmail.com. There's a link somewhere. You can go and check out. I'll tell you the best way to work out all the stuff that I'm doing. Go to the official website, coinsagemedia.com. You'll get details for absolutely everything I'm doing over there. So until the next episode, guys, whatever you're doing, stay safe. I will talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.